I miss my brothers. CJ moved to Alaska. Nick died in a car accident.
Okay.
What do you remember about Nick?
What I remember about Nick, I remember Nick. He was this freckle-faced kid with a big smile, and he was always friendly. And he was always pleasant. I don't remember. He was here for 3 years, and I don't remember ever seeing him get into trouble. He was always polite and really cared about other people, and he was a nice addition to the school. And he was always enthusiastic. I remember the last time I saw him was at Myers, and he was so excited because he was going to be a dad. And he was just beaming like it was the best thing that ever happened to him. And that was really cool to see, because he was happy, and that was nice. How's that? How long do you want? I remember. It was a couple years before Nick, wasn't he? I talked to Nick more than I did CJ, but I actually had CJ in class. And they had a really big class. It's like you guys probably have like 90 kids in your grade, and they had like 125, 130 kids in their grade. It was a lot. You're not recording it, are you? For about CJ, he had a lot of energy. He was bubbly. He had this big, thick, curly black hair, and I had him in a class, and it was one of those classes that was kind of goofy. It had a lot of kids that had too much energy or had a lot of different problems, but we had a lot of fun in class, and he was a really good addition to the class because he added a lot to it. It was called a skills class, and we're trying to help kids develop skills to make it through life and academics and stuff like that. So he was a lot of fun in there. I mean, that was quite a few years ago, but he always had a big smile, and when he walked into class and stuff like that too. He had a zest for life, which was neat. I always see that. You don't always see that with kids when they're happy to be here, which is nice to see.
But I'm glad I can see CJ this summer in Alaska.
Nick is. I remember Nick as if it was yesterday. Nick had a vibrant smile, and the smile, I remember it so well that I remember always greeting him in the morning, and many times Nick would be that young man who would even beat me to the punch by saying, "Good morning, Mr. Quinlan," or "Hi," and he was always had an outgoing personality. Um, Always gave his best at work, whatever he did, and that was something I still remember. Nick, he was a smile. It's infectious. I don't want to say his personality was just always outgoing. Always seemed to be upbeat. Always seemed to be someone upbeat. Middle school is a tough time of young people's lives. It really, truly is. And it didn't seem to faze him at all. So it was something that he seemed to be confident who he was. Like all students, learning middle school becomes a very difficult part of their life, but he handled the challenge flawlessly. But it was his contagious smile, it's truly a smile, a lot, and is always greeting his teacher when he came in. That stays with you. Cut.
Nick was in a bad car accident that killed him and his fiancée. Nick and Casey would have made amazing parents to Grace.
About Nick is that he was
But Grace loves her Aunt Kenzie.
He was a loyal family guy. He was very protective of Mackenzie and his brother and his mom. He wanted to make sure they had everything they needed. We had many, many, many conversations, and in fact, I can remember when he called me to let me know that they had just had the baby, and the baby had some medical needs, and he was very nervous, and he was able to face that and ask questions that he needed to know to the nurses and the doctors. He had to mature pretty quick, which he was mature anyways, but he had to mature pretty quick with a new baby, and he really stepped up to the plate. he loved his family, and that means his mom and Mackenzie and CJ, and he loved would have been his fiance, I believe. Is that right? Yep. And the baby, wanted to make sure they had everything they needed, and he, at the same time, was trying to balance school as well. And so he did a very nice job of working through those things, as well as asking for help if he needed it. So I remember Nick as a hard worker. I remember him as not giving up. I remember him as happy. I remember him as protective. Nick Smith was a very good person.